I am trying my best to conceal any noise from the outside. What's up? I believe by now you are well acquainted with our style of lecturing, which integrates a summary of the act or the scene alongside with extracts from the dialogue. I am not going to give you a summary of Act 2 of She Stoops to Conquer because I suppose by now you have an idea of what it was about. In today's lecture, we start on Act 3. At the very beginning of Act 3, we see Mr. Hardcastle on the stage. He is delivering a monologue to the audience. I talked about this in the previous lecture, that there is this theatrical technique in She Stoops to Conquer known as a solace, traditionally known as monologue, in which a character directs his feelings or thoughts to the audience. Now, Mr. Hardcastle is outrageous. He feels disappointed, okay, after meeting Marlowe. He expected him to behave like a cultivated, like a cultured young man, but it turned out the opposite. He met an impudent young man. Now, we see this on the stage. We see Kate then comes. She is wearing a plain dress because prior to this, she wore a fine dress alongside with her trumpery to receive Marlowe. But now she changed. Now she is putting on a plain dress. Now, their feelings about the whole situation takes precedence over the main subject. Okay. Now we have two contradicting views. From one side, we have Mr. Hardcastle, who is disappointed, feels outrageous. He feels cheated on. He feels that his whole encounter with Marlowe was preposterous. Okay, and from the other hand, we see Kate, who has a very positive first impression on Marlowe. She believes that he is a respectful young man. He is down to earth, and all these things. The important thing is that we have two contradicting views over one character. Now, this contradiction is not easy to reconcile, okay? Because Mr. Hardcastle has already decided not to give his consent to Marlowe. On the contrary, Kate sort of decided that she is going to take Marlowe for a husband, okay? So it is not a very easy contradiction to reconcile, okay? Or contradicting views to reconcile. You see here at the very end of this paragraph, Kate has the impression that Marlowe is diffident, down to earth, and respectful. Mr. Hardcastle, on the contrary, believes Marlowe is impudent and unworthy of his consent. Please, at this point, I suggest you adjust the speed of this video to your liking, because as you know or may not, I speak as fast as I think, so I cannot speak on a different pace, okay, if that makes any sense. Now, let's read this extract from their conversation. Now, we have Miss Hardcastle, Kate. Surprising, he met me with a respectful bow, a stammering voice, and look fixed on the ground. I said in the previous lecture that when a man does not look a woman or a lady into her eyes, it is a merit, okay, that he is praised for. Mr. Hardcastle has a completely different opinion. He says, he met me with a loud voice, or a lordly and a familiarity that made my blood freeze again. So you see here the contradicting views on one character. She perceives him to be respectful. He perceives him to be impertinent. He speaks with a loud voice, and he deals with him as if they were familiar. Okay, and when you meet people for the first time, it is impertinent to treat them with familiarity. You have to deal with them on a certain level of formality. They continue. Miss Hardcastle, he treated me with deference and respect. Mr. Hardcastle, he spoke to me as if he knew me all his life before. Asked 20 questions, interrupted my best remarks. Yes, Kate, he asked your father if he was a maker of punch. Punch is not is not fist. A punch here is a cocktail that consists of alcohol alongside with pieces of fruits. Now, they ended up believing that one of them must be mistaken. Okay, they cannot be both right, because these contradicting qualities cannot be reconciled in one person. One person cannot be respectful and offensive at the same time. One person cannot be respectful and impertinent at the same time. For Mr. Hardcastle, his impression is irremediable. His impression is irremediable because he thinks that he makes good first impressions on people. And Kate believes that, according to his attitude, he is not as horribly impertinent and intolerably offensive as her father perceives him to be. Okay, so one of them has to be wrong. Now, they ended up, they agreed on investigating his character further and further, discovering other sides of his character. Okay, and then when they give him another chance and discover more traits, more sides to, and see more sides to his character, then they will end up either wrong or right. Now we come to a very different side of the plot. Especially in here, we are focusing on the subplot of and she stoops to conquer. Okay, as I told you in the previous lecture, there was a bargain between Hastings and Tony. Hastings says, I want you to cooperate with me so as we get Novels out of this house. I would like to elope with her, get married to her, and land in France. And Tony agreed to it, said, I will be of help to you to the last drop of my blood. So you know about this bargain, about this whole plan. Now, Tony started to execute the plan. He cooperated on that, but what he did is that he went to his mother's bureau. He robbed Neville's jewels from his mother and handed them out to Hastings, saying, these are Neville's jewels, now you can elope with her. Okay, and I do not like to see her anymore. Okay, so this is my cooperation to your bargain, my cooperation to your plan. The problem is that meanwhile, Constance went to her aunt asking to get her jewels back. Okay, now Tony got them very dishonestly. Okay, so now Constance is going to be shocked to see that her jewels are missing, actually. Okay, Let's read this. Hastings is afraid she is going to feel resentful that she finds her jewels missing. If Tony got them in the proper way, he wouldn't have to lie repeatedly. Tony lies repeatedly because lying is a form of deception, and deception is the material out of which this play is knitted, or comedies in general are woven and knitted, if that makes any sense. Okay, so a part of being a comic character is having this quality, being a liar. Okay, just saying, because Tony is. Now, we see on the stage Neville and Mrs. Hardcastle. Neville is imploring her to get her jewels back. Mrs. Hardcastle, as always, she has a variety of excuses. Okay, I cannot give it back to you. You do not need them. You are too beautiful to wear your jewels. You are in your 20s. You are 20 and you have blushy cheeks, so you do not need no jewels to accentuate your beauty. But when you are 40 and your beauty starts to decline, I will be giving you your jewels so as you can improve your beauty. So this is Mrs. Hardcastle's excuse, which is, in my opinion, is stupid. It is stupid even for Neville. Okay, so she does not want to give the jewels back to Neville. This is actually mean, because these jewels is all that Neville has in life, because her fortune is in jewels. Now, there is another theatrical technique in She Stoops to Conquer, which is called asides, in which two characters are talking, and there is a third character in front of them, but he cannot hear what they are saying, what they are conversing, but the audience can hear and know about that. So here comes Tony, and here is another layer of deception. By the way, I call them layers of deception because it is deception and it is covered by another lie and deception, and it is also in turn covered by another lie and deception. So deception is layered in this play. It is really intermingled, if that makes any sense. So you have to pay close attention to the minute details in the play. Now, Tony on the stage, he speaks to his mother. He whispers in her ear, saying, tell her that her jewels are missing. Tell her that her jewels are missing, and I will be your witness. Okay, I will say that I saw it. I saw that her jewels are robbed or displaced or something like that. Okay, so Mrs. Hardcastle agrees to his plan, to this lie, and she tells Neville that she does not have her jewels because her jewels are missing right now. Okay, they were displaced or something like that, and here Tony is our witness. Now, Mrs. Hardcastle suggests that that Neville does not wear any form of jewels, but she can have her garnets. Garnet is a type of gemstones or precious stones, but they are not as expensive and valuable as her own jewels. Okay, of course, Neville disagrees on that. Now, let's read this extract from Mrs. Hardcastle and Neville's conversation or dialogue. Mrs. Hardcastle, now I wonder, a girl of your good sense should waste a thought upon such trumpery. Trumpery means the ornaments that girls wear, like necklaces, watches, something like that. These are called the trumpery. And the trumpery is not as expensive as jewelry and jewels. So Mrs. Hardcastle always underestimate the value of other people's possessions or the value of other people's feelings and wants. And this is really selfish of her, if I may say that. Because Neville started to whine over this whole missing story. Where are my jewels? Your jewels are missing, and here are my garnets. You can wear them. So you can feel that Neville is disappointed. She feels betrayed. Of course, she's going to whine over and whimper over everything that is going on. We shall soon find them, and in the meantime you shall make use of my garnets till your jewels be found. Neville, I detest garnet. I detest, I hate. Tony tells her then. Tony speaks to Neville. He says, don't be stupid. Take those garnets because your jewels are not missing. I have your jewels. I have the casket, and I have already given them to your lover. Okay, I have stolen them from my mother's bureau, and they are safe. They are safe. They are with your lover. And she, of course, felt exhilarated that her jewels are not missing and they are in her lover's hold. Now, at the very end, Tony describes her with she fidgets and spits about like a Catherine wheel, and this is actually a simile. Then Mrs. Hardcastle goes off to her bedroom, okay, to check on Neville's jewels, and she actually found the jewels missing. Now, the joke turned out to be truth. The jewels are missing. So she starts to shout, "Thieves, robbers, we are cheated. I cannot find Neville's jewels. What am I going to do?" This joke turned out to be truth. And now we see her informs her son Tony, saying, "Tony, it is not a joke anymore. The jewels are really missing. What can I do? Help me." And all these things. She is shouting, crying, and breaking down probably. Okay, now here is another layer of deception. Now Tony pretends that he doesn't understand her, pretends that he doesn't understand what she is talking about, because having Neville's jewels missing is actually a joke that he invented and she agreed on, and it cannot be truth. So he pretends he doesn't know what she is talking about. He is ridiculing her. She is frustrated. She is shouting.